program and not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And a special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube Live. The first watch today: should corporal punishment be banned? And in the second watch, wither the PNP? Our social media question we ask: what are your thoughts on corporal punishment? Please share your responses on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM, and also on WhatsApp, 876-997-3125, using the hashtag, The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's, I quote,
Orbiting to a door, Coco Chanel. Where am I? I should make an appearance there.
I was wondering if you're raptured and didn't tell me.
No. Oh boy.
You did the quote already?
Yes, I did. Don't spend some time beating on the wall, hoping to transform it into a door, Coco Chanel.
Okay. I didn't hear it. Speaking about beating, in the first watch, we'll be discussing corporal punishment. Did you get beaten sometimes as a boy?
Oh, I got so much.
Oh? And how did it impact you?
That's why I'm still around, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm still around.
I'm still around. Yeah.
And I thought you're one of those big goody children.
At times.
At times. Well, we're going to discuss it, and I know you're going to listen carefully to that discussion,
Indeed.
right?
Indeed.
Okay. The first watch will be back after this break.
Hey, psst, come closer. I want to tell you my secret. My son wears his favorite shirt for everything, and no matter how much he runs, jumps, and plays, it always looks like new and smells really good. My secret? I use Suavitel Superior Care. Keeps my family's clothes as good as new. Suavitel, as soft as a mother's love.
Do you suffer from arthritis, high blood pressure, cancer, or any other chronic illness? If you do, Essential Body Herbs is the place for you. We provide natural herbs, nutrients to help the body heal and take care of itself, and we cater to deep cleaning of the body, resulting in a healthier you. For over 50 years, Essential Body Herbs has remained invested in taking care of you. We're open Mondays to Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 4 Hotel Street, Mandeville. Free consultation is offered on location from the Herbal Doctor, Dr. Atkinson, Mondays to Fridays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Call Essential Body Herbs at 876-410-5686 or 1617-593-7151.
Hey, psst, come closer. I want to tell you my secret. My son wears his favorite shirt for everything, and no matter how much he runs, jumps, and plays, it always looks like new and smells really good. My secret? I use Suavitel Superior Care. Keeps my family's clothes as good as new. Suavitel, as soft as a mother's love.
We have only for prizes, that's summer thing. Yes. So make you flew and take you wheel for your spin. Right. All you do a look for the text, they come in and then you click, on the link for your win. Spice it up, activate, add it up, elevate, spin it up, let's go. Win it up, quick. Join your mobile phone to your home or app plan to your floor phone.
Win tablets, smartwatches, mobile plans, Google Home Minis, and more. When you spice up your summer with Flow, just add your mobile to your home internet or activate any 5-day or higher unlimited data plan to win. Everybody wins every time.
Add it up and spice it up with Flow.
Dial *129*6 # to activate or visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
It's back and it's bigger than ever. It's the Fostrich Super Summer Sale, Monday, July 19 to 29, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Get your project started with amazing deals on electrical lighting, LED bulbs, and more. Stuck in the office? Then shop online. Visit fostrich.com/shop and save. It's the Fostrich Super Summer Sale, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay, July 19 to 29. See you there.
Did you say so winnings and everybody know this? Some feel like cash and prizes. Million every week, make a running for the niceness. Call 142 for the richness. DJ, bongs. Digicel and make a rich together. DJ, bongs.
Make we rich together with Digicel. Just call 142 or dial *142 for a chance to win your share of $42 million in cash and prizes. Each entry costs $100. From now until September 14th, make we rich together with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, since the untimely death of 4-year-old Nashawn Brown, allegedly after being beaten by his stepfather, the decades-old issue of corporal punishment has once again risen to the fore. So much so that last week, the Prime Minister reportedly gave a clear signal in Parliament that his administration was not afraid to pass legislation which would ban corporal punishment. But is corporal punishment the same as child abuse? And what would happen to discipline in the home if parents and guardians were banned from beating their children? To discuss this controversial issue, we have online Mrs. Claudette Richardson Pius, co-founder and executive director of Children First, and Pastor Christopher Johnson, general secretary of the Caris Foundation and a public commentator. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Pleasant good morning.
All right, good to have you joining with us. Now, let me just begin at the very beginning, because this whole matter of corporal punishment has been gaining much traction. A lot of people are talking about it. But I'm gathering that there are different views in terms of what it really is. So let's see if we can get that clear from the get-go. What is your understanding of corporal punishment? Beginning with you, Mrs. Richardson Pius.
Corporal punishment is really when you use excessive force to discipline a child. And it goes, the whole thing of discipline there, you have to understand that discipline can be done without physical harm. And in a lot of cases, we are strong people, you know. And in our culture, we're very strong. So when we discipline our children, we tend to discipline them in a very strong way. And there are times too when the child is disciplined in a way that it causes harm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really where the challenge.
I want to get it clear now, Mrs. Richardson Pius. You use the words excessive force. Is that your definition of corporal punishment? In other words, if it's not excessive, it's not corporal. If it's not excessive, it's not corporal punishment.
Once there is physical beating of the child, that's corporal punishment. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Pastor Johnson, your take on the matter. What is corporal punishment?
Good morning. Good morning. I would counter that that is superintendent punishment, not corporal punishment. She's speaking about. A corporal punishment is, as you mentioned, it's physical. It's a physical encounter that is used to discipline a child. Interestingly, though, some countries in the world do allow corporal punishment, and in their definition, they say once it is reasonable and moderate punishment, right? There are many of us who look at corporal punishment as just a beating. However, if you are supposed to examine the subject more, you'll realize that beating is just one aspect to corporal punishment. It's just one aspect, because you have several forms of corporal punishment, and that's where we miss in the discussion. And we live in a society where persons love to go to the court and to argue cases. And I dare say to your viewers this morning that some of these alternative methods and listeners, yes, thank you. Some of these alternative methods of discipline that are being purported by some could be argued as corporal punishment.
Okay, so once it is reasonable and moderate, it's okay. That's what you are saying, Pastor. All right.
Well, listen, not only me, but the Privy Council. Yeah, not only me, but the Privy Council ruled on that matter. So not only me.
The Privy Council said that once it is reasonable and moderate.
What is reasonable and moderate, though? Who decides what is reasonable and moderate?
Wait a while here, Mrs. Pius. Go ahead. Go ahead,
yes,
Pastor.
Yes, and I'm glad for that question, because in that very same judgment, and you can look it up online, in that very same judgment, it went back to the government, where they gave guidelines. What is reasonable and moderate, because for example, they said like using a 50% force and not 100% force when applying the one aspect of the corporal punishment. So the guidelines.
I need to see that. I need to see that document. Very interesting. Yes, Mrs. Richardson Pius, you wanted to come in.
I like the interesting 50% force. A big strong man or a big strong woman putting 50% force on a child. Help me now. I think that corporal punishment is really a backward anti-cultural norm that we have accepted. And I mean,
backward anti-cultural.
Exactly. We have accepted it, and it really, I mean, I'm talking as a social worker, and I have seen the abuse, the children coming out so angry. And I mean, I've seen children who said them just died to get big to kill them parents. So, I mean, I'm coming from a different place. It is very much dependent on the child as well. There are some children who have managed to do well under the condition. Yeah? But there are some persons who then now feels that it is acceptable, and they now use the same method to discipline their children. And it continues the cycle.
You know what?
I'm looking at Pastor Johnston. He wants to come in.
Yes, what we are seeing is that we are still at the point where we are emphasizing the beating. As I said, there are several aspects to corporal punishment. And if we continue to emphasize the beating, then the debate will go just on the beating. There are several aspects to corporal punishment, and that is what must be made clear. No. Tell
us, Pastor, before we move on, Pastor, tell us some of those other aspects. What are the other aspects to corporal?
So we have you're telling a child to stand, raise your hand till the hand hurts. That's a physical punishment. You're pinching the child. That's a physical punishment. That's physical. Pinching a child.
Hold that point. I'm sorry, Pastor. Hold that point. We're at break. We'll be right back.
So make you flow and take your wheel for your spin. All you do a look for the text, they come in and then you click, paneling for your win. Spice it up, activate, add it up, elevate, pin it up, let's go. Win it up, quick. Join your mobile phone to your home or app plan to your floor phone.
Win tablets, smartwatches, mobile plans, Google Home Minis, and more. When you spice up your summer with Flow, just add your mobile to your home internet or activate any 5-day or higher unlimited data plan to win. Everybody wins every time.
Add it up and spice it up with Flow.
Dial *129*6 to activate or visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Jamaicans and donors at home and abroad. The Jamaica Customs Agency is cognizant that the speedy clearance of humanitarian aid in times of disaster is crucial. Join us and other border regulatory agencies for a virtual public forum in our CCC series. Click, connect, and converse with Customs Thursday, July 29, 2021 from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. under the theme JCA and BRAs, facilitating efficient and effective clearance during national disasters. That's a virtual public forum on clearing humanitarian aid, Thursday, July 29, from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Visit www.jacustoms.gov.jm to register and to participate. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Chris Charles has something special for you this and every Friday at 11:45 a.m. Listen to the information carefully, then answer the questions in the Chris and Charles Financial Quiz Corner. There is so much to learn and you can win something fabulous from Chris and Charles. That's the Chris and Charles Financial Quiz Corner, Fridays at 11:45 a.m. Chris and Charles, when you think loans, think Chris and Charles. And it's on the family station Love 101.
Stay informed and keep up to date with all the happenings locally, regionally, and internationally. Follow My Jamaica Today on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Also check us out at JamaicaToday.com as we bring you all the information you need wherever you are, with fearless and factual reporting on politics, world news, business, entertainment, sports, and lifestyle. It's My Jamaica Today, Jamaica's first digital media house, only 3 clicks away.
I always do my best to stay in control of my expenses. So with Flow, I added my mobile to my home internet service and elevated my savings. I get 50% off my mobile plan each month. Yeah, man, I get a simple, predictable mobile bill of $1,600 plus GCT and never sign a contract nor made a deposit. And you can get this too. Add your mobile to your Flow home internet for elevated savings of 50% off your mobile plan each month. Visit the Flow store or discoverflow.co to sign up today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And for this, the first watch, we are discussing the whole matter of corporal punishment. And we have online Mrs. Claudette Richardson Pius from Children First and Pastor Christopher Johnson from the Caris Foundation. Pastor Johnson, before the break, you were responding to the comment from Mrs. Pius that this thing called corporal punishment is backward and anti-cultural. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, and so I said there are several aspects to corporal punishment, and I will also say that some of these alternative methods can be argued as being physical and also oppressive, which could line back to the same factor of corporal punishment. We run the risk when we say we want to ban corporal punishment for there to be a movement against disciplining our children.
Okay, sir. But is there a difference between discipline and punishment? You know that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know that, right, Pastor?
Yes. Well, look at this.
Can you discipline your child without punishing your child?
Yes, you can, because we have positive and we have negative.
Oh, okay.
Right? We do have.
Yeah. Mrs. Pius, I wanted to ask you because you mentioned anti-cultural, okay? And one of the things about the Jamaican context is that we are known as a Christian country. So the Bible has a lot to do with many of the things and many of the norms within our society. How would you respond, Mrs. Pius, to passages found in Proverbs 13, 24, 29, 15? He who spares a rod hates his son. He who loves him is careful to discipline him. The rod of correction imparts wisdom, but a child left to himself disgraces his mother. Your response to passages such as those?
My
Mrs.
response to that is we need to understand that in terms of the translation of the scripture, that's where I have a challenge. Yeah? Because the rod don't mean murderation.
What does the rod mean to you? What do you think the rod means, Mrs. Pius?
From where I sit, I think that the rod could be symbolic. Symbolic of discipline. And it don't mean murderation. It don't mean you must take the rod and murder the child. It don't mean you must overdo it.
So you can't hit the child then without murdering the child?
No, I'm not saying to hit the child.
That's right.
Yes, Pastor, you come in. What's your understanding of those scriptures?
I would concur with her that the rod there doesn't necessarily speak to a specific instrument, but it speaks to a method used for discipline. That's the rod there. So, for example, for the Christians, our rod of correction is the Bible. For the country, our rod of correction, is the laws that govern our country. Yeah. So I would liken it there.
Does that exclude a physical beating, for example?
No, it doesn't, because, for example, if you commit a crime in a country, you will either pay a fine or you will be imprisoned. That's physical. Right? For example, even in Christendom, if you blatantly, willfully go against the dictates and teachings of your particular religious group, you have consequences, whether you are asked not to sing or you're asked not to be hold membership. So there are consequences, and that is also physical. So we look at this with a balance when we look at the rod of correction, because sometimes the rod is a simple talking, and sometimes the rod is a simple have to use force.
As you mentioned, force, Pastor, the same scripture, same Proverbs 23 verse 13 says, do not withhold child. If you beat him with a rod, he will not die. But when you look on the case with 4-year-old Nashawn Brown, that becomes questionable, doesn't it, Pastor?
No, you see what happened. What happened is that we are having a challenge distinguishing corporal punishment and abuse. What we saw there, as I said earlier, and I was just giving a joke, that was superintendent punishment. That wasn't a corporal. Better yet, that was a provision of punishment. That was excessive. That led to abuse, and it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate what took place.
But Mrs. Pius, you respond to that.
I think that in a lot of cases, the abuser have been abused, and in a lot of cases, there are mental health issues that our country is grappling with, and for me the balance is important. Yeah, because I think that a lot of times when you see persons who, they will tell you that I was beaten and I get some real serious beating and it never killed me, so I'm going to use that to discipline you. And it's a new. The child really.
Is that wrong?
Don't have any
Is that wrong, Mrs. Pius?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Is that wrong, Mrs. Pius? Somebody who experienced corporal punishment while growing up and is now a disciplined, law-abiding citizen. Is that wrong for that individual to believe that he or she can also use it in a moderate way with his or her child? Or
the operative word is moderate, though.
And
oh, so you are not totally against it then, Mrs. Spiles?
What is moderate? I mean, how do you decide what is moderate? That is my concern, you know.
No, but I want to get this clear. Are you totally
reasonable?
Are you totally, Mrs. Spiles, against it?
Against what?
Corporal punishment.
I'm against corporal punishment, yes.
Totally. Whether moderate or not.
Discipline and corporal punishment are two different things for me.
I see. So I'm just so you are totally against it, whether moderate or not. You are saying no way.
My concern is the moderate. Who decide what is moderate?
So a little slap. A little slap on the wrist.
With your hand. No instrument, with your hand.
Some of us, my hand heavy. I wouldn't even think about my hand heavy.
Yes.
And seriously though, I mean, a little child, like you're going to take your big hand and give them a slap on the wrist.
The parent should know that has been
slap on the wrist.
A pastor would be arguing that parent should know that has become abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to go back to this parenting thing, though. You know, we have to go back to parenting. Our parents, some of them don't know better. And what, as a country, what have we done to help our parents to understand the difference? We are talk up our mouth and we get very excited and sensational and all over the place about the 4-year-old that was killed. Yeah, I mean, what are we doing to help the parents to understand how to discipline their children?
Yes, but we need to do that. And Pastor is agreeing. Pastor is agreeing. I want to say something. I want to ask you something though, Mrs. Pius, because I want to use an example. You have a knife. We all have kitchen knives. Okay? The knife is used as a tool in the kitchen to cook. That knife can be used to kill somebody. Should we rule out the use of the knife because somebody has been killed or somebody has been abused by the knife?
Yeah, but I think that is a far stretch, though.
Why?
That is a far stretch.
Why? Why?
To understand, and maybe I'm challenged this morning. Too early. Help me to understand the comparison, because I'm not getting it.
You're not getting it, Pastor. You're getting it.
Yes, I'm getting it. Yes, because in essence, what you're saying is that corporal punishment is a tool that we have in the box, right? Why is it that because of one person going to the extreme, must we rule out this tool that we have in the box as being bad and not effective?
Right.
But it's not one person, though. I mean, studies have shown, and right now CPFSA have it all over the place. 8 out of 10 children aged 2 to 14 have experienced some form of violent discipline. You know?
Yeah.
So we have to look at that as well. And I think with murdering the whole thing of corporal punishment, we need to spend the time educating and sensitizing our parents around positive parenting, positive discipline.
Yes.
And
let her finish, please, Pastor. I don't think she can. Hold on, Pastor. Let her finish, please. Go ahead, Mrs. Pius.
And I also think it is important that we work with the children themselves. Our children are getting wayward because that nurturing that should be happening at the community level not happening. We really have to, as a society, as a church, as a people, spend more time helping our children.
I think we're all in agreement with that.
Challenge, you know.
Yeah, Pastor Johnson, you have the final minute.
Yes. So I was looking at what Mrs. Pius was saying, and I agree with her. The discussion should not be to ban corporal punishment, but to educate our parents on how are the effective methods of disciplining our children. The UK, Canada, US, they have not banned corporal punishment in the homes. So let us not go there.
Well, some
Let's
states,
teach us-
Pastor, it depends on the state.
Some-
Depends on the state.
and
yes, right.
some states have some legislations.
Okay.
Let us look at ways in
All right,
which we can train our parents to
We
be
have to
better
leave it
people.
there. We have to leave it there. I want to thank Pastor Christopher Johnson and Mrs. Claudette Richardson Pius for joining us this morning. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. The Morning Watch will continue.
JN Auto Loan, helping you on your journey. Roll out and make a statement in your brand new vehicle.
The time by JN will help you find a way is
7:31 on the Sound of Love.
It's the summertime, and not only are our kids home, but with online school being mostly over, they are home and bored. But Bashco has great items to keep the kids busy while they are on summer vacation.
We have flashcards, activity books, coloring books, and great arts and crafts supplies to fit every need. And of course, toys! Yes, toys for girls and boys for both indoor and outdoor fun. So stop in and get what you and your kids need.
At Bashco, at 30 years, giving you more.
Hello? Morning, Mary. Is why you there for morning me calling and can't hear from you? Child, me did go on out of the supermarket. Supermarket? Somebody a foreign send something for you? No, me get the social pension payment. You mean the government program that you did tell me about? Same one. Oh? You get yours? Where me did I go? You mean you sit down and never go look about little benefit? And you coulda?
Senior citizens, have you applied for your social pension benefit yet? What are you waiting for? Visit the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's office in your parish. Take your birth certificate, a government ID card, TRN card, and your bank account details. If you don't have a bank account, we will pay your benefit through a remittance agency. The next payment will be in September, so don't delay. Apply now. For more information, call 876-922-8007 or visit the Ministry's website, mlss.gov.jm. The Social Pension Program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Hanover, the I Love Summer team is here. Are you ready? Cause we sure are.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we're going to take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Gleaner. I don't hold it against them. PNP president says he will continue to work with former VPs. And then Chastanet wins seat, losing power. Guess that's in the Caribbean. And then the PM had no choice, says Mahfoud. In the Observer, COVID backpedal. Government tightens measures amid climb in the new cases. And of course, Dominica launches new electronic passport. And we see here finally in the Observer, mixed reactions to new COVID measures as expected. Well, those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, listeners and viewers, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question. What are your thoughts on corporal punishment? Leave a comment on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
We have only for prizes, that's summer thing. So make it flow and take you real for your spin. All you do a look for the text, they come in and then you click, on the link for your win. Spice it up, activate, add it up, elevate, pin it up, let's go, win it up, quick. Join your mobile phone to your home or app plan to your floor phone.
Win tablets, smartwatches, mobile plans, Google Home Minis, and more. When you spice up your summer with Flow, just add your mobile to your home internet or activate any 5-day or higher unlimited data plan to win. Everybody wins every time.
Add it up and spice it up with Flow.
Dial *129*6 number sign to activate or visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
When a body is cremated, it is burnt until all that remain are ashes. With a burial, the body remains intact and placed in the ground. Cremating the body is now becoming increasingly popular, but is cremation unbiblical? Is it a personal decision or a spiritual one? On The Rock this Tuesday, July 27th, host Pastor Harold Steve Blair and guests Evangelist Hurley Taylor and Minister Keith Spence will discuss the topic cremation, burial, mourning. You don't want to miss it. That's The Rock, this and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. right here on Love 101 FM, the family station.
DJ Bongs. Make we rich together with Digicel. Just call 142 or dial *142 number sign from your prepaid phone for a chance to win your share of $42 million in cash and prizes. Enter to get $500 bonus credit. Smartphone users get 500 megabytes any use data and 1 gigabyte BIP data, while non-smartphone users get 10 minutes and 50 SMS free for Digicel to Digicel calls and texts. Each entry costs $100. From now until September 14th, make we rich together with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Bills to pay and funds to transfer? No problem. I do it all on my time with JN Bank Live Online Banking. It's my simple and secure as that online banking.
Phone credit need a top up? No problem. I do it with JN Bank Live Online Banking.
It's quick and easy with just a few clicks. JN Bank Live, online banking that goes where you go. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank, we'll help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's join Shivani for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What are your thoughts on corporal punishment? Shivani?
All right. The comment here, Natalie says, my father used to beat me and I'm no worse than others. And now I don't have to beat my children, but I don't see anything wrong with corporal punishment if it's done in a moderate way. Jackie says, I love this discussion. Jamaicans have a way to quote scriptures to suit, their needs. She adds some punishment goes over the board, but children, they have to be disciplined, but explain to them before and after. All right. Cindy says, don't spare the rod and spoil the child. She says Jamaica is following the American society, which is a role model. All right. Claudette says we need to develop loving relationships with children so that they will develop trust in adults. How many of us take time to talk to our children in an intelligent way? We fail to do so. We prefer to use the instant fix of force on the weak to get them to conform to our wishes and commands. That's quite interesting. Cordella says, interesting topic. Let me quickly see something on WhatsApp. This one says, Delta says, the Bible says, do not spare the rod and spoil the child. Sometimes
it doesn't say that.
Does not say that. Sometimes 2 slaps will do. However, it is how. So for me, slapping a child on, with the hand 2 or 3 times should not harm them. Putting it in the hand with a strap 2 or 3 should not either. Okay. All right, let me see. I can take one more. Where do I go now? Kimika says the guest said it's superintendent punishment and not corporal punishment. Well, I used to get some commissioner punishment. All right. Keep the conversation going.
Hey, Shabani, I heard you coming with some interesting music there, man.
Tell you, Jim Cliff.
Where you find that, man? Where you find that?
It's right here.
Very good, very good.
That was the Child-Born theme in I think 2015. Yeah, that was the theme 2015. Yeah, Jimmy Cliff.
Great job. Yeah. Thanks.
That's right.
All right, I want to thank all those who shared their comments. Very interesting comments there. And now we segue into the second watch. And we begin by asking what's happening with Jamaica's opposition party, the PNP. Last week, a Gleaner headline declared that the party had reached an all-time low, especially since the recent resignations of three of its vice presidents and its chairman. Is the party really at an all-time low? And if so, what about its future? And what does that mean for Jamaica? Bearing in mind that the importance of having a viable and stable opposition is paramount. Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have joined us this morning Mr. Lloyd B. Smith, CEO and Chief Editor of the Western Mirror, and Mr. Kevin O'Brien Chang, social commentator. Good morning to you both. Not hearing you as yet. Good morning to you both.
Hi, morning, everyone. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Governor from Mobay. Good morning, Mr. O'Brien Chan. All right, gentlemen, I just mentioned the July 20 Gleaner report stating that PNP reaches an all-time low. In light of the recent happenings in the party, has the PNP indeed reached an all-time low? Beginning with you, Mr. Smith.
There's no question that it has descended into the abyss politically, based on its own internal conflict, as well as the external perception of the wider society that all is not well in the 83-year-old party. And there's no question that there is this fallout. It's a matter of, can it go further down the pole? It is, you know, when you have reached rock bottom, the only way is up. So one way is to see what happens next.
Mr. Chang, do you agree that it has reached an all-time low?
Well, every time I think it's reached an all-time low, they manage to go lower. They also say when you're in a hole, stop digging. But the PNP keeps digging. I mean, look at yesterday when Rhoda Crawford with these vice presidents and Mr. Bunting. You know, they couldn't do any worse than they were doing, but they managed yesterday to alienate all the women in Jamaica, you know. So I know they're certainly down below where they've ever been.
Yes.
They keep getting lower and lower, and you have to be worried for Jamaica's democracy, you know. I'm quite worried. So I don't know. It's the PNP. Are they ever going to start talking sense again?
Mr. Smith, from your perspective, who or what are to be blamed for the current situation in the PNP?
Well, in any political organization, the leader holds much sway, and I do believe that the leader would have to take much of the blame, in addition to those lieutenants and others around him, for the fallout. It can't be just placed at the feet of the followers, because they take their cue from the leadership. And I think one of the problems is that Mr. Golding has had a rough ride since he was elected president. And perhaps his laid-back style and sort of allowing, you know, things to happen around him without his putting his foot down, so to speak, has caused much of what is happening to happen. I think the time has come when he has to assert his leadership in a more meaningful way, to pull in all these disparate elements in the party, you know, because unless the party begins to speak with one voice and focus more on the mission of the movement rather than, you know, pandering to what they perceive to be popular ways of getting attention, then they are going to be in the wilderness for a very long time.
Hold that thought, please. Could you hold that thought, please, Mr. Smith? We are at a break. We'll be right back.
This is Love 101 at 7:45.
We have only prizes a summer thing. So make you flew and take your wheel for your spin. All you do a look for the text they come in and then you click on the link for your win. Spice it up, activate, add it up, elevate, pin it up, let's go. Win it up, quick. Join your mobile phone to your home or plan to your floor phone.
Win tablets, smartwatches, mobile plans, Google Home Minis, and more. When you spice up your summer with Flow, just add your mobile to your home internet or activate any 5-day or higher unlimited data plan to win. Everybody wins every time.
Add it up and spice it up with Flow.
Dial *129*6 to activate or visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Seniors, the first payment under the new social pension program will be paid on July 22. If you qualify for a benefit and submitted a completed application before June 30, your payment can be collected beginning July 22. Check your text messages to confirm your payment arrangements. For further information, call 876-922-8007 or check the ministry's website, mlss.gov.jm. The social pension program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
DJ Bongs, Digicel and make we rich together. Make we rich together with Digicel. Just call 142 or dial *142 from your postpaid phone for a chance to win your share of $42 million in cash and prizes. Enter to get $500 off your monthly postpaid bill and 10 international minutes to USA, Canada, and the UK. Each entry costs $100. From now until September 14th, make we rich together with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Does this sound remind you of car insurance? Or does this sound remind you of getting a loan for your small business? What about this? Does this remind you of paying your bills online? Trust Grace Kennedy Financial Group to do your banking, insurance, investments, money services, and more gracefully. Get to know us at gracekennedyfinancialgroup.com.
Hanover, the I Love Summer team is here. Are you ready? Cause we sure are.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the second watch, we are asking the question whether the PNP. And we have online Mr. Kevin O'Brien Chang, social commentator, and Mr. Lloyd B. Smith, CEO and Chief Editor of the Western Mirror. Mr. Smith, before the break, you're responding to the question, who or what are to be blamed for the current situation in the PNP?
Yes, and I did indicate that the buck has to stop at the feet of the leadership.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think what has happened is that what is happening in the PNP, it was not an overnight scenario. It's the culmination of several years of decay. The party has allowed itself to descend into being a sort of, Michael Manley said it, left to itself, political parties only concern themselves with the spoils and so on. And we have seen, for example, where these various presidential races over the years have allowed for a certain virus to affect the party, and that virus is this thing called the delegate groups, which have been manipulated by way of money and so on. And so you do not necessarily get a primary focus on policy, on vision, on principles and objectives. The PNP has moved away from that. And so what you are now having are personality clashes. The party is not coalescing around its principles and objectives. And until it goes back to that core way of doing things, it will continue to founder. That's the reality.
Mr. Chang, your response? You think there's a virus in there apart from COVID-19?
No, the PNP has a couple of fundamental problems, right? I mean, Mark Golding has been a disaster, but then so was Peter Phillips.
A disaster, you say? Why you say that, sir?
He keeps talking total rubbish.
Oh?
He keeps saying very foolish things. He dresses in a very unbecoming way. His nickname to the public now is Chaka. Chaka Chaka, which is not a good nickname to have. I don't think many people could think that since Magulan took over, he has fulfilled what people are expecting from him. A sensible man who could unite the party and talk to the Jamaican people with having plans as an opposition leader. He has talked utter rubbish consistently. Look at the ivermectin. The WHO says no ivermectin except for testing. He said government must legalize ivermectin for COVID. Based on what? And that Andrew is afraid of calling an election because the PNP will beat them.
Of course.
Larger problem.
Of course, Mr. Chang.
Yes?
Of course, Mr. Chang, those are not the views of Love FM. Those are your views. But I'm wondering though, what about the fact that there is seemingly persons who have not yet settled in their mind the fact that he is the president of
but
the party?
The fundamental problem with the PNP goes beyond personalities. All of them are talking garbage. Look at this one who Rhoda Crawford with Azan and Ian Hales and Bunting. The PNP, they're not listening to the Jamaican people. Instead of they talk, but do they consult the people before speaking? Now look at the Rhoda Crawford thing. I live in Mandeville. And I can tell you, she is the hardest working MP since I came back to Jamaica in 1989. And these men go up and talk, she's not doing nothing, she's profiling. Did they go and talk to the people in central Manchester to ask what they think? And I can guarantee you, they come here, people say this is the hardest working MP ever. You know, so when you talk and people hear you and they know the way you're talking, don't go so. They're going to stop taking you seriously. That's what has happened with the PNP.
Am I hearing you say that there is need? Am I hearing you say that there's need for change in that regard? Presidential change?
Yeah. They need to listen to the people. They need to go consult, ask the people what are they thinking. The PNP and of what I said, they exist in a bubble. They talk to each other and they convince themselves that what they're saying, what they think. Everybody feels that way. And they talk these things. And then the media hear it on the media and they believe it. You know? And they keep telling blatant lies to the public. And thinking the public is going to just suck it up. They're idiots. Like this thing about Mark Golding. So, who just hold one little rally at Mandeville and Golding catch him afraid and call off election. When Mr. Golding said, as of course, they're not going to have an election. Right? And does anybody really think that if an election was called tomorrow, the PNP has any chance of winning? They'll be lucky to win a single parish in a local government election. Everybody knows that. And then Mr. Golding is saying how Andrew Holness is afraid of him. What do you expect people to think? When you hear a man chatting total garbage every day, what do you think about him? Eventually they come, this man has no sense. And the party as a whole keeps doing it.
I'm sure it's not total garbage. But Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith, what's your take on it? Should we have a presidential change in the party?
I wouldn't think that is the best thing to do now because it would lead to further implosion, clearly, given the fact that you have two factions in the party, and clearly, therefore, any presidential race at this time would put one against the other, which happened previously with the Hannah Golding situation. Frankly, what I think the party should do is take a deep breath and go into retreat, and no general election is going to be called for now, as my colleague there pointed out, this thing about election and so on. Clearly, the PNP is not election ready. So even to bait, because we know in politics you bait the other party to call an election, but Mr. Golding trying to bait Mr. De Broga at this time is like, you have to, it's really hilarious. So I think what it needs to do right now is to go into retreat, have internal meetings, seminars, various activities to get the party on one track. It needs to revisit its vision, its policies, where it wants to take Jamaica should it regain state power. And stop all this frolicking out there, which at this time doesn't make any sense. Look, we have a serious pandemic. In fact, we have more than one pandemic, because crime is also a pandemic in this country.
Yes.
It's COVID, right?
Yes.
Those are the things that we need to focus on now. And these things need a certain level of bipartisan involvement and support. So at this time, I don't know if the adversarial approach is going to take the PNP anywhere. And people are tired of that type of politics. We saw what played out in the last election. Look at the number of people who voted. And in the local government election is going to be even worse. I shudder to think what the results of the local government elections are going to be. We may end up with less than 20% people voting. So the reality right now is that it is not the politics of the day that the Jamaican people are interested in. It is survival. How do I survive the gunman? How do I survive the COVID? Right? And in that context, the PNP is losing out on making any meaningful contribution to national development.
Mr. Smith, there's a school of thought out there, and both of you have been around long enough to have seen this and know what I'm talking about, that political parties go through evolutionary times and periods, right? That JLP, of course, had their low moment, right? And they had to wheel and come again. Isn't this perhaps that a situation where good will come out of this evil time, this difficult time?
Yes, out of evil comes good. I think there has to come a time when these men and women in that particular political party will have to come to their senses and become more pragmatic. I suspect that day will come. It has to come. We cannot end up being a one-party state.
Right.
We need a viable opposition.
We do.
And we are hoping that this will, in fact, happen in good time, and that good sense will prevail in the long run.
Yeah. Mr. Chang, your take.
Well, you would hope. I mean, that PNP doesn't end up disintegrating, because as Mr. Smith says, we don't want to become a communist one-party state.
Right.
You know? But listen, the PNP is reminding me more and more of West Indies cricket. And I hate to say this, Carl, as a big fan, but we saw West Indies cricket. They kept denying reality, kept playing their second 11, not playing their best players. Kept losing and losing and losing, until eventually the public tuned out totally. And once upon a time, West Indies cricket, remember, it was on every radio station, people followed it, everybody was thinking, nobody talks about it now, because of the terrible management that started go down to the ground. And instead of trying to fix the problem, they only were interested in staying in power. And the PNP, as I say, are approaching that kind of irrelevancy, because as a lady said to me the other day, she said, boys, and this is a PNP stalwart formally, she said, boys, it's a politics, it was like a football match where all the good players are on one side.
Well, JLP had their time, Mr. Chang. JLP had their 18 years.
They had their 18 years. So
yes.
It's cyclical, but that's what I'm trying to say. The PNP has gone to a level I never thought.
This was worse than the JLP?
In the 90s.
This was worse than the JLP, Mr. Chang? This was worse than the JLP wilderness time?
No, but I'm making a comparison. I saw the 1990s when the JLP looked like they're going to collapse or nothing. But the difference is there, where Edward Seaga was a respected leader, and people didn't like him, but they respected him. And you had a Bruce Golding in the background who, when Seaga finally left, he managed to put the party back together. He now has nobody who people respect. That's one of the problems. You look at their list of people, and Mr. Golding is not respected because he has no pedigree as a leader. Mr. Seaga was arguably saved the country in the 80s and was there. Mr. Golding is a...
Guess what?
Garrison MP. They drop him in a Garrison where the PNP...
Guess what, gentlemen? Yes.
No matter who is there. He's never won a contested election.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Chang. We have to leave it there, Mr. Chang. We have to leave it there. I want to thank you and Mr. Smith for joining us this morning. An interesting discussion. Have a productive day, gentlemen.
Thanks much.
Thank you. All the best.
Great. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information or get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. You can now listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. This has been, of course, the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint. Hand you back to Love in the Morning with Chevonnie Blair.
This is Love 101, the family station. It's 8 o'clock, folks. It's time for the program Forward in Faith, brought to you by the Port Moody Testament Church of God.